Hello everyone, welcome to a different NinjaGo video than what I usually do. So today I'm going to be taking a very quick look at a real NinjaGo script from the show, specifically Season 6, Episode 64, The Way Back. So for those of you unaware, I'm sure most of you are aware, but late last year Kirby Morrow, the voice actor for Cole, passed away very suddenly, very, very sad, very tragic. So in January of this year, 2021, a little fund was created to kind of help create a scholarship in his name for aspiring voice actors in Canada. So Kevin and Dan Hageman, which are the writers of the Seasons 1 through 6, and then Season 8 and Season 9, and then I don't think they wrote any on Season 10. They just kind of consulted and were executive producers. But, they helped shepherd in, like the first several years of NinjaGo. They had this little thing going on their Twitter account where they said, if you give this amount of money to the Kirby Morrow Fund, then we will send you a signed letter. If you give this much, then we will send you a signed script. If you give this much, we're going to limit this to 5 people. We will then talk with you on Zoom for a half hour. So I thought, when they mentioned that you could get a signed script, that was something that I immediately went, yes, I want that. How much is it? I don't care how much it's going to take. I want that because this is something I really, really, really like scripts. I don't even know, there's just something about looking at the script pages, opening up a script for a project and then seeing all the lines and everything and looking at how it comes to, and then you look at the final product and you see just how a project comes together. There's just something about that I really, really, really like because of all the projects I've done, all the different scripts I've written, and I kind of question why this isn't a thing that more companies do. Why is there not like a box set of here are the scripts to the original Star Wars trilogy or something? I mean, that would be like, I feel like that would be a really awesome collector's item, wouldn't it? I mean, I would certainly buy that just to have like a big binder booklet thing with like, here are the original shooting scripts for the original trilogy. Especially considering that A New Hope, we had the original running title of, The Adventures of Luke, Star Killer, Episode 1, The Star Wars, as taken by the Journal of the Whills, that great big long title. It'd be kind of cool to see that kind of evolution of how things changed from script to the final product. So I immediately jumped at the chance to get a script. So the script I selected is, as I said, The Way Back. It is the season finale to Season 6. Which is why I've got my little Skybound J minifigure here, and I'm just gonna open this up, and we're gonna take a very quick look at it, just to kind of see some of the interesting things in here, and just kind of take a little peek. So, obviously up front, this is not something that you would have on the original recording scripts because this is signed specifically for me. So it says Austin, which is my name. When a ninja needed help, you delivered. Thanks, and it's signed by both Kevin and Dan Hageman. So first of all, thank you so much, guys, for sending this. I was more than happy to help out to that Kirby Morrow Scholarship Fund. Also, going back to that thing is that them sending you stuff was only viable for the month of January. But where you could get something in return, but I'm pretty sure you can still donate to that fund. If you can, then I will include a link in the description. I mean, it's obviously going toward a good cause, so go ahead and check that out and give if you can. So, NinjaGo season 6, episode number 64 overall, The Way Back, written by Kevin and Dan. The log line here, which is the brief kind of summary of what it is that when Nauticon acquires infinite wishes, Jay only has one. Very dramatic. And then this is the second draft from February 21st, 2015. So it's super interesting. That's how long the process of animation takes, and all these projects take. Is that this script was written and finalized like a whole year before the actual episodes aired, which is interesting. So this is just the cover page. Also, it's not stapled together. That's something that I'm going to get something. I'm going to get something to like brackets or something to put this all together, and then I'll have it framed and put up on my walls. But for right now, it's not stapled. So here we have our first page, and then this is going to be one of the first things that I find interesting is that some of the spellings that they have for certain characters, which are not necessarily the same as what the final character name spellings are. So let's see here. Where is it? For instance, Clancy. Pretty sure Clancy is spelled with a K. It's spelled with a K here, but his official finalized name is Clancee. So it's interesting to see it spelled a little differently here. Those are all the same. I really love this exchange here between Dog Shank when Nia is very slowly stepping into the chapel and Flintlock says, and slower than molasses dripping uphill. It's hilarious. I really like that line. And then this is also something interesting is that they put in a little interaction here between Zane and Echo Zane, which, if memory serves, because I watched Skybound again only a couple months ago as a kind of celebration of the 10th anniversary of NinjaGo as a whole. This didn't make the episode, so it's interesting to see it here in the script, and then it didn't actually make it into the episode. But then, other than that, everything else kind of did make it in by what you can see. So here's another interesting character spelling that the Hagemans have for Dareth is 2 R's, where everywhere else I've seen it has just been 1 R. So that's interesting. And then here we go. And then over here, so this is when Wise Lloyd, as they have it up here, this is when Wise Lloyd realizes that if when Nodocon's power is taken away, that NinjaGo will fall on NinjaGo proper, and NinjaGo will be crushed. Here, they have a much shorter line for Wu, where he agrees. But then in the finalized episode, that is a little bit longer. So it is interesting to see some of that they must have come up with that. It's like, okay, maybe this is just a little bit too short. Let's try another take of this, where Wu says something like Lloyd's right, and then says it. So it's interesting to see some of those things that probably happened in the booth that maybe didn't make it into like maybe that was just written in with pencil on the day of recording, and it didn't make it into the final saved print here that the Hagemans have on their computer. So, and something I always also find interesting about scripts is how different people write action. So, and then also stating very explicitly that, hey, we need thrilling music at this portion. And then they did actually state that Clancy was going to be stuttering. There wasn't anything it's in brackets or anything saying, oh, by the way, this character stutters, so the voice actor can figure that out. They actually did put in the different stutters. And this is another funny thing I like, where Clancy starts to stutter a little bit too much. Nodicon gives a menacing glare at the stuttering Clancy. Eternity, and then this holy temple, which your marriage shall stand for the test of time. So there's that gag. I've always enjoyed that gag. It's just more of it. Let's see here. Through here, it's pretty much all the same as we saw in the episode. So it's just cool seeing everything written out. Let's see here. There was one thing that was... Oh, yes, I know. Here. It's a couple pages over. Here we are. Yeah, this is something I find interesting, is that there is an actual line stating for that here's where the commercial goes. So with my scripts, with all my stuff that I do for my stop motions, because I don't necessarily have to worry about here's where a commercial break needs to go, I don't ever do a thing where there's a break for a commercial. So it is interesting to actually see that they do have written on here that here's commercial break, and they even do a page break to then separate it out. And so the first 12 pages or so are kind of, that's your first half, since this is a half-hour long show. That's your first half, and then we begin the second act here. So this all pretty much plays out exactly as we saw. So it's just, I just really, really like looking at all the lines on the page. So I think we'll go ahead and skip to the end here. The big, we know how this ends. There we go. Looking at the scene, how everything kind of unfolds. We're now kind of shot with the tiger widow venom poison, and then we realize that Mia got shot as well. So, just a really powerful scene. This whole, I just love this ending to death. I just really do. Okay, that's maybe a poor choice of words considering what's happening here in this ending. But I really love this ending. It's just really fun to see it all written out on the page. And then just the place of the underline, that this is the the big, this is a big moment, so we need to focus on this. And then, of course, it is interesting that they did, is that it seemed like that they definitely had specific scenes in mind for what they wanted to have in the flashback. But it is interesting that there are a couple extras on here that they didn't make the final cut, probably because it's like they had to cut a couple for timing purposes, because they had to, we can't go over that 22 minutes, so. Especially here, we have more of the. It's like, I mean, they go over a lot more of the conversation from the first episode of the season than they actually did in the episode. Whereas they pretty much replay the entire conversation where it pretty much picks up here in the episode, where the rest of that was just kind of and it was sped through most of that. So that was smart way of getting the runtime down while still maintaining the effect of what was in the script. And here is that I find the wording here is that it's very clearly, very explicitly going, she dips him in with a kiss of all kisses. At first Jay is surprised, but this feels right. Where in the actual episode, you can make the assumption that they're kissing, but it does kind of the camera does kind of move away from them to give them their little moment. So I wonder if that was maybe we don't want to, I mean, then there's the moment then in a second here where it's like, yeah, I do too, but how? Who cares? She kisses him again, the ninja share curious glances, where so that's an obvious, they're definitely kissing here, but that first one, it just kind of, they kind of go up with the air jitsu out of frame from the camera, and then it's not, it's like, oh, are they kissing, are they not? And so it's, and then later and then Dareth films them all filming the kiss scene around the world. But then that final footage that we see that is being broadcast around the world, that looks like the hug is, the post kiss. It's like, okay, now we're just happy to be together. We're going to just hug and hold each other for a minute. So it is kind of interesting how there are certain changes that I wonder if that was like, executive producer decision. Like maybe we don't need to be that graphic with the kissing or something. We can get the point across without being exactly. It's like, this is TV Y7, so maybe showing too much kissing would then bump it up to a TV PG or something. We want to keep that Y7 rating or something. So that's one of those behind the scenes things that I think would be super interesting to. It's like, what? So, the script is very obvious about this, or maybe it was a director decision or something like that. So that's one of those script to screen things. It's like, how is that kind of change thrown in there and made, and then of course it ends with the end. And so since I just got this one script, I am curious to see if the other scripts from the season had a the end attached to it or not, because it's like it was the end of the episode, but it was not the end of the season, and so not the end of the story. So I wonder if it was a to be continued placed at the end of each of these scripts. So yeah, that's kind of it. there's just one last little thing I wanted to point out, which I just thought was really funny looking through it, is that when the Misfortune's Keep comes to crash itself into the Temple of Air Jitsu, as Misfortune's Keeps hurtling straight towards the temple, pulse-pounding music kicks in as the ninja dive bomb towards them, and Nauticon says, "Oh, ship." Or an alternative line is "my ship." I think "my ship" is what made it into the final episode, because saying "oh, ship," that's, okay, I think I know what you were trying to get away with there, Hagemans, and I think that's why they purposefully put an alternate line in there, because they didn't think they could get away with it. So I just find that really super funny. It's like, can we sort of kind of curse in this show? Can we kind of throw one little thing in there for the adults just to be funny? So I don't think they got away. I don't think they got away with that. So yeah. So that is the script to the way back. One of my favorite episodes from the show, from my favorite season. So it's just really cool that I was able to get a hold of this because of the Hagemans being awesome. Trying to bring some joy out of just an awful situation with Kirby Morrow passing away. So. In a perfect world, I would rather not have this script and still have Kirby Morrow be around for his family and friends, and of course for us being fans of his work on the show and everything. But it is so in that way, I wish I didn't have the script. But it is really cool that I have it. It is just going to be this nice little memento reminder. Because of the circumstances around it, is always going to give me a moment to think about that voice actor and what he brought to the show. So, yeah, that's going to be it for this video. A little, like I said, a little different than what I normally do for my Ninjago videos, but we had a kind of a special thing going on here. So I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys for my next Ninjago video, which will be going up next week, which I think you will all find very interesting because it sort of kind of involves all of you. So I will see you guys next week for that video. But until then, thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.